just for the music, and that's why I'm here.
If you care about music, if you care about jazz, if you want to hear jazz as it's meant to be heard in a small, intimate setting where everything is audible, from the clicking of the pads on the clarinet to the tapping of the drummer's foot on the pedal, come here. Because the acoustics are really, really good. I like having high-quality music in my living room where I control the acoustics and other parameters. And it now has quite a bit of momentum because I've got 150 plus people a year asking me for gigs. The hardest thing about my role is saying no. There are times when I can truly say this is amazing. This is as good as it gets. This is absolutely world-class music, and it's happening in my living room, or my rumpus room, to be more precise. Especially given my essentially non-existent budget. The official foundation myth is that for my 50th birthday, I called Jessica Williams on the phone and asked her to come and play, which she did, and it was very well received by the people who were there, and who included a singer and pianist who asked if they could come back in a month. And things gradually took on some momentum to where I'm doing 18 shows a year now, after 15 years, which the anniversary was last month.
Because it's in somebody's home and it's such an intimate setting that really enhances the music, and I think the musicians also feel that intimacy.
Jazz is a very broad category, and I've had many styles, from ones you could have heard in the early 50s to the cutting edge of today. And I've had many different instrumental combinations. In one case, 4 guitars. In another case, 4 clarinets and bass clarinets. Standard jazz configurations like piano, bass, and drums, or piano, bass, drums, and a horn. Sextets. Many different kinds of ensembles and many different styles, but all of it broadly construed jazz. Many well-known performers, and performers from many different countries as well. I've had people here from the Czech Republic, from Iceland, from Denmark, French artists, and lots of people from New York and Los Angeles and Portland, Seattle, as well as the best local people. It's not uncommon for me to say to myself after a show or during a show, there is probably nothing better happening in the state of California, or maybe even in the United States. It's better than this at this very moment, and that's a very good feeling, especially given my essentially non-existent budget. No, no, I steadily lose money at this. It's not as bad as sailing or cocaine, but it's not cheap. The donations that come in go straight to the musicians. And don't tell anyone, but it's not unheard of for me to sweeten the pot if the audience hasn't done their job. I used to have to disassemble my stereo and move the sofa in order to put on concerts. Now I just have to put out folding chairs. Oh, I have an extensive staff which consists of one unpaid intern, myself. I bought this piano for this concert series. I came into a little bit of money from my parents' estate, and that's how I spent it. I've had some moderately famous people come. I had a very odd concert that was probably the most avant-garde thing that I ever did here. And the musicians were Danish, and it turned out that one of the Danish musicians is very, very, very famous in Denmark, not only as a musician, but as a poet, a disc jockey, a yoga instructor, and a world-class tennis player. And his son plays in a famous heavy metal band. So the famous heavy metal band and Lou Reed were in the audience, along with many Danes. You know, I love to listen to the music, and I like to listen to music in a place with good sound. There's remarkably few places that have actually good acoustics. So here you're listening to the band and you're looking at the band, and it's essentially all acoustic. But it's all coming right from the band. And so you get an integrated visual and auditory experience. But yeah, it's about hearing what I want to hear.
The audience is part of what we do. They are affecting how we play.
You feel the music rather than just like hearing it or through amplification. You can actually feel it. You can feel the piano player. You can feel the music, and that's really different from being in like a big
Extremely relaxed. It's like listening to music in somebody's living room, which it is.